What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today the news heard round the world: Scott Turner has been relieved of his duties as offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders. Man, you ever had that moment where and everybody's talking about it right now, but you ever had that moment where you had a disagreement with your significant other and you try to explain to her or him, whatever your preference is, or them, that, look, I know you may not understand what I'm saying, but this is what it is. And they sit up there and they want to argue with you and fight with you because they really don't want you to be right, but they ain't got because they don't want you to be right because they know you're going to let them know that they were wrong, right? But this is not the show for that. I'm not going to do that. But I did tell all of y'all from the onset, if you go back to my catalog, from the very beginning, the first season of Ron and Scott, I told y'all then, Scott Turner did not know how to call plays. I pulled that out very quickly. Year 2, I said he should have been fired because, again, there are things that Scott doesn't do that should be done. One thing I told y'all is that he doesn't develop quarterbacks. His system is not beneficial to quarterbacks, and I said that. Then I told y'all that, hey, look, check this out. This man, when he calls plays very weirdly. And I think for the first time, I don't think Ron noticed it. I think Ron was surprised at the report that came out where a lot of the offensive players had expressed their frustration with the play calling. And understand this, there are a lot of them that, like, you can pick either one of them. It's not like it's one of those things where it's like you can't tell. You can tell the ones that were frustrated by the play calling. Prime example, Curtis Samuel and that when Carson Wentz came into the game in San Francisco, Terry McLaurin. How about Terry McLaurin and him having to sit up there and deal with the fact that he wasn't targeted during his time, during his moment where he was with Carson Wentz. And as soon as Taylor comes in, he's now targeted. How about the running backs? Who pitches on 4th and 1? Who pitches on 4th and 1? That's stupid. And I think for the first time, in fact, I think that very play, that pitch on 4th and 1, I think that play opened up even Ron's eyes. Because nobody, and not only do I think that play opened Ron's eyes, I think it also pissed him off that Cleveland had 4th and 1 as well, and they did a quarterback sneak. Not with their starter, but with the other guy. And I think that right there solidified a lot of stuff. Scott was a terrible offensive coordinator. That's just what it is. It's no getting around that. And for anybody who wants to defend Scott Turner against this firing, you're wrong. You're definitely wrong. And people can sit up here and there's all this stuff. Oh, well, there were times where he would scheme guys open and all. And it's like, look, yeah, you can scheme guys open, but clearly your message is not direct to the quarterback. Not only that, again, if you're an offensive coordinator and you clearly see that your offensive line is not doing well with pass protection, you have to get the ball out quickly. How long did we have to wait until we finally saw slant patterns out of this team. We actually had the duo formation in the first game and did not go back to that duo formation until later. Antonio Gibson should have looked like Alvin Kamara in this offense. It wasn't like they didn't have angle routes. In fact, they actually had a lot of the same plays that the Saints have when it comes to Alvin Kamara. They actually had those same plays in that playbook. I'm not one to sit up here and act like it's not a good thing, but yeah, that was a lot of stuff. And that you got to understand, there were a lot of failures that happened. A lot of failures that happened. Everybody was talking about him not having the best quarterback. His quarterback did come with him. Taylor Heinicke was his quarterback. And guess what? His quarterback was successful in his offense. Like, we can sit up here and try to pretend like Taylor wasn't his most successful quarterback, because that was his quarterback. The problem was that everybody else wanted him to have a guy who had a stronger arm. Also, you got to also understand that he just did not know how to call plays. He was a guy that, again, I will go back to this word because I said it at the beginning of the year when he first came on. This was about nepotism. It wasn't about how good of a play caller he was. It wasn't about how good he could be. It was about nepotism. Anybody that saw Scott Turner in Carolina saw that he was not ready to be an offensive coordinator. Everybody saw that. I mean, we all saw that. And then he comes here, and for some reason, everybody thought it was going to be something different. And I was the one who was screaming, he's not going to be any different, people. He's just not. And you got to realize that. And when it comes about that a guy gets fired, understand, he's not being fired because he was this guy who was on his way. Scott was not getting it. We should not have lost those Giants games. And we can't fault Taylor Heinicke for a lot of that stuff. Another thing, again, I go back to what I said. When you don't develop quarterbacks, you have this problem. You have this problem. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that Ron should stay because Scott is gone. No, Ron should be gone too, because he's made some disastrous things. Now, understand, this was supposed to be what my reflection show on what I said needed to happen for this upcoming season for it to be a successful season. And this news broke. The next offensive coordinator shouldn't be a guy that Ron knows. I will repeat that. The next offensive coordinator should not be someone Ron knows. Period. I've already heard I already heard one guy, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't like Mike Shula. Mike Shula is one of the guys that, when it comes down to it, he was a guy that when everything was said and done, he had this thing where he pretty much killed Cam Newton. Like, he really and genuinely killed Cam Newton. Killed Cam Newton. There was a lot of times and a lot of plays that he would call and Cam Newton would be obliterated. Not only that, his offense geared to only either one wide receiver or one receiver as a whole. Like, Greg Olsen would get tons and tons of receptions and stuff like that. But, I mean, how many of y'all remember Brandon LaFleur and how his career was? Muhsin Muhammad. Well, I don't think it was Muhsin Muhammad. It was Brandon LaFleur, Funches, and also Steve Smith. Y'all really want to know about Mike Shanahan's offense? Go talk to Steve Smith. Steve Smith will tell you how he felt about Shula's offense. Shula's offense was awful. And this ain't his first go around with stuff like this. His offense was awful back when he was with Cincinnati, and I think the quarterback was Jeff Blake. I think it was Blake and Klinger. And I mean, even back then, Jeff Blake had to sit up there and rely on his own talent to even do something. And then when he would come in, it was always something. Because I think Mike Shula was the coach when Jeff Blake was there. I think Mike Shula was the guy. But again, I just like from what I've seen from Mike Shula, he's not the right guy. He's also not a quarterback developer. He's another guy that doesn't develop quarterbacks. We don't need a guy who doesn't develop quarterbacks. We need somebody who comes in, knows how to call plays, knows how to repeat plays, but at the same time puts his team in the best position possible. Because even when you think about it, Mike Shula was the offensive coordinator for that Carolina team when they made it to the Super Bowl. And we saw what happened when the offense didn't work because Cam was the focus of the offense. Like, that offense was horrible. Horrible. He never found protection for Cam to help him out to get the ball down the field. That is what you will get with Mike Shula. That is exactly what you will get with Mike Shula. Like I said, the next guy that comes in here has to be someone that Ron has no familiarity with. Or if he does have familiarity with, it should be somebody that he's like, well, you know what? This benefits the quarterback and the offense. And I think this will now let me get away from this. Now, I will say this. Frank Wright is not coming here to be a offensive coordinator. That would be stupid for him because that is a demotion. And people can sit up there all day and be like, well, you know, he ain't got no job. He's going to get one of the open jobs. He's going to get one. Trust and believe that. He's not going to be out there for long. The other thing is this. I have two guys that I feel very confident in, that I feel could be very good options for Ron and could possibly preserve him a little bit longer. And the first guy is I can't think of his name right now, from Wisconsin. He's Sam Howell's former offensive coordinator at North Carolina. Longo. I think his name is Paul Longo. I think it's Paul Longo. But Longo is actually a really good offensive coordinator. Not only that, even if he is thinking he's going to get 1 year, the benefit of coming to Washington and actually developing Sam some more and giving Sam an offense he already knows, the benefit that he brings is that, one, he's not afraid to run the ball. He's not afraid to be run heavy. He's not afraid to utilize as many running backs as possible. His passing game is very, very good, especially when you think about what he'll be inheriting with these three wide receivers that we have, plus the running backs that we have. I really do feel that he's a guy that can do it. Not only that, he does utilize his tight ends here and there. But again, I do feel that I think his name is Paul. I think it's Paul Longo. But he was Sam Howell's offensive coordinator at North Carolina. He will be getting an opportunity to come to the NFL and show what he can do. And again, this is better than bringing your head coach from college. Okay, you're bringing a guy in from offensive guy from college. Not only that, you're giving him a quarterback that he's familiar with, and you also giving him a receiver he's familiar with. So again, this will benefit Ron a lot. Again, I don't think Ron has ties to this guy. But again, this is something that Ron will do. Then he won't have to be concerned about the personal connection that he has with the guy. Because again, if it goes wrong, he could just fire him and it's not a big deal. The next guy is a guy that I've been talking about for a very long time. Is a guy that I feel is a very good offensive coordinator. Is a guy that the team that he was calling plays for, don't let that reflect on how good he is as a play caller and as a quarterback developer. Again, that is a key thing for the next guy. He has to be a quarterback developer. That guy is Pep Hamilton. Pep is one of the guys that he will do whatever he can to make things look good. Y'all saw what he did with Dameon Pierce. He had no fear running that ball at all. At all. And then when he had a passing play that was there, he would do it. Understand this. That Texas team had no talent. It doesn't have any talent. You give Pep this talent that we have on here, and we're talking about a completely different thing. If you don't believe me, you can go back and watch Pep's film when he had Andrew Luck up there in Indianapolis when he was with Chuck Pagano. I'm telling you guys, Pep is a guy also that, again, would be a very good fit. He's also a guy, because in fact, I think Ron actually does have a connection to Pep, because I think Ron and Pep might have been in Chicago together. Don't quote me on that, but I think they might have been in Chicago together. Don't quote me on that, but again, this is a guy that develops quarterbacks. He has a long history of this. Long history. Again, his last guy that he developed is Davis Mills, but before then he had Justin Herbert. Before then he had Andrew Luck, and he also had somebody else too. But again, this Pep Hamilton, and not only that, he has no fear in repeating a play. If it worked the first time, he'll definitely do it again. In fact, he did it on us. So again, this is another guy that I feel that when it comes down to it is something that they should strongly consider. I know that a lot of y'all would want some of the other guys. Wes Phillips, he's not coming here. He's already an offensive coordinator, and he's on the fast track to being a head coach. He's not coming here. Because I think he's the one, he's in Minnesota, because he's calling the plays for what's the name. Then you got Sean Wortham, which is, he's in Seattle. But he's not coming here because he's an offensive coordinator there. And not only that, he's in Seattle, and he's doing a very good job in Seattle. So understand that there's not a lot of guys who's going to come here for an offensive coordinator job. The reason I said Pep is because Lovie Smith just got fired. So again, Pep didn't have the talent there in Houston that he will have here. Again, if you ever want to see any film involving Pep Hamilton, go back to when he was with Indianapolis and he had Andrew Luck and all them that was there. So again, he can call plays. Not only that, he does a fantastic job adjusting on the play, adjusting in game. A good example of that is that if you look at Houston's track record this season, every time they've played a team, they've basically given the roadmap to how to beat that team. And a lot of that was due to Pep. We found out how to beat the Philadelphia Eagles because Pep was running the ball like crazy on them. He kept that offense off the field. After we saw that, all we did was mimic Pep's play calling. So again, if you see that if you see that you can mimic play calling from a guy that that helped you beat Philadelphia, why not bring that guy in? But again, that's my opinion. Those are my two guys. Logano, which was I think his name. I keep saying Logano, but I think it's Longo. I think his name is Paul Longo, which again, he's now at Wisconsin. But he's Sam Howell's former offensive coordinator. He's also a quarterbacks coach. He does a good job developing guys. Not only that, you bring him in, he will bring in the offense that Sam is comfortable already with. Again, if we're moving forward with Sam, he will bring that. Not only that, he's not afraid to run the ball. He's not afraid to use multiple running backs. And not only that, he's not afraid to use multiple running backs and see both of those running backs be successful. Not only that, you're talking about his ability to call plays to get stuff down the field, things like that. I'm telling you, that's my first guy. My second guy, of course, is Pep. I just think Pep is one of those offensive coordinators that, for some reason, I don't know why he never gets a head coaching job. I don't know why people don't talk about him enough. But his play calling, especially this season, has gotten a lot of teams beat after they played the Texans. I think during that time period, like I think I brought that stat up before, during that time period, I think only 2 teams won. One was Denver. I think it was Denver that won. But I think that those 2 teams that won, the next game, they only won by, I think, 1 point and 2 points. So, again, the Houston Texans, Pep Hamilton, those are, like I said, I keep saying, I think his name is Paul Longo. I could be wrong, but he's the offensive coordinator in Wisconsin right now. But he was Sam Howell's offensive coordinator in North Carolina. And again, like I said, Pep Hamilton. I do want people to understand that this is a good direction. Again, I still feel that, of course, Ron Rivera should still be fired. I still feel that way. But I do feel that this is the exact step in the right direction. But I will say this. If Ron brings in Mike Shula, or he brings in anyone that is associated with the Carolina Panthers or was associated with the Carolina Panthers during his tenure, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble, and we're going to be talking about this very thing again. Okay? We're going to be talking about it again. Because, like I said before, because if the talk is about Mike Shula, the problem with Mike Shula is that he's not that good with adjusting in game. He's not that good at adjusting in game. Not only is he not that good with adjusting in game, he also gets to a point where he doesn't do any quarterback development, and on top of that, he himself also doesn't do play calling adjustment. Basically, what you saw with Scott is what you're going to get with Mike Shula, because again, Scott and Mike Shula were together for a very long time. Once Norv was gone from Carolina, Mike Shula was the one that, it was like Mike Shula, I think it was Mike Shula first and then Norv. But either way, Scott was there for a big portion of that time. And again, like I said, Mike Shula is not the answer. We cannot bring Mike Shula in. He was the one, like I'll say it over again, he was the one that messed up Cam Newton. Not only that, y'all want to know about Mike Shula's offense? Go to Cam. Cam has talked about how bad Mike Shula was as a play caller. Cam has talked about how Mike Shula has hurt him in the past and how Mike Shula was calling plays that would put him in danger. Y'all, like I said, there's 2 guys. All you got to do is listen to those 2 guys, Cam Newton and Steve Smith. Find any reporter that's looking at this, go interview Cam about Mike Shula. Go interview Steve Smith about Mike Shula, and they will tell you the truth. Like I said, y'all tell me what y'all think. Again, this was supposed to be a comment show. This was supposed to be my evaluation and all that. But again, Scott Turner fired. Finally, Scott Turner is out of here. You're fired. Other than that, y'all tell me what y'all think. Sit up here and choke myself. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Other than that, this has been your man, John Fortune. And this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.